Hi guys, I know it's been a hot minute since I did any video making at all, but I've been busy with health related things and sorting out things with my education and various things here and there. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to make a quick video. I'm sorry, for some reason the screen is very sort of blurry and I can't work out why this is, because I'm using my iPhone and not my usual video camera at the moment, but usually there isn't the sort of crackly looking sort of feel to the video, but because this is the one that is the most easy for me to edit on at the moment and to carry around, and it fits into my GorillaPod, it was the best way for me to do a quick sit down video. And I wanted to video in a slightly different location because I usually end up making videos in my kitchen and you all must be sick of that background by now. So I thought I'd talk about what's been going on anyway. Sort of early or midway through last year, I had to withdraw from my PhD study, which was, I found it hit me quite hard, and it was sort of difficult to reconcile because it's all I had wanted for my whole, it was my last thing on my sort of bucket list to achieve, having been told I never would do, would even get past high school. So I was so happy to have got onto a PhD programme and to have got the supervisor I wanted and things, but evidently things weren't meant to be because I ended up being beset with health problems. I had emergency surgery, hospital admissions. It was just an utter downward spiral from when I started. So there seemed to be no way to continue because a PhD has a time frame and I couldn't meet the time frame. So I'm happy to report they've done some tweaking to some medication and I'm doing a lot better now, particularly from a mental health perspective. I have started a new antidepressant and I've been able to reduce my antipsychotic drugs, so I'm very happy about that. I'm still not mentally in the place I would like to be, but things have got better, and I have taken a small online course and that really isn't at your own pace thing. It's with something called the Open Study College. I am taking a very small course in criminal justice at the moment, just to keep my brain stimulated. And oh, excuse the dog. Hello, Scout's down here. I'll show you Scout in a minute. She's come for a visit this evening, and I'm doing fairly well at that. I'm getting distinctions because I can take things at the pace that I need, and if carers are late or support workers can't come in or things like that, I really can just pause things for that week and get back to things when I'm better, staffing levels have sorted out, and it's worked in a way that university seemed unable to work, at least when I was travelling so far away from home. I'm hoping maybe in the future to go back to studying at university again, but go to my local one and not one far away. It's just that I have never really had the going away to university experience because I was already living, I moved out and went to live on my own, but I still lived I lived 13 miles away from my original childhood home when I went to university, and it was in a special complex for people with disabilities, and it was very good. They were some of the happiest times of my life, and many friends that I made there have now sadly passed away, but a lot I've maintained contact with, and they were good days. Then I was able to move out of that complex and into the bungalow that you've seen on my other videos. And I really wanted to, and the support at my local university or college, for those of you in America, was fantastic. My Staffordshire University, where I went to do my undergraduate and my masters, has got a phenomenal reputation for dealing with people with disabilities. Now, I didn't think this at the time because I had had some issues with them. However, I mean, and I always managed to come through and sort things out. And I rather naively thought that because a student support place looks okay when you go and look around a university, and it's very bells and whistles, much more so than my previous university had been, I thought it would be alright. But I seemed to fall through every kind of support crack available. Funding and all sorts was more of an issue than I'd anticipated. Even when I offered to pay for the support myself, I'd been there for 12 months before they got anything in place, and it was almost impossible for me to recover from that in a sort of learning perspective, and I kind of lost a lot of confidence. So even when I tried to go back, I felt so mentally wobbly that I couldn't concentrate and couldn't pay attention in supervisions. And people, even people who are fairly sort of conversant with disabilities, sometimes don't understand how much the unseen aspects of things can impact on your life, and to what degree. Like, if you need to plan support and plan district nurses and procedures and things like that I do fairly regularly, it can really have a massive impact both on your study time, and I was having to do a lot of bed rest at the time as well, and that has a massive impact on your study time. And also medication can make you drowsy and unable to concentrate properly, and then of course if you have an attendant mental illness as well, this can be problematic. And I've not yet found a way to make this all sort of work and coordinate at a postgraduate level, not effectively yet anyway. I hadn't appreciated that when I was an undergraduate I was A, a lot younger, B, a lot more healthy, and C, had a great deal more support than perhaps I do now. I mean, my mum was still alive then, and my dad is a fantastic dad, he's really good, but he's not quite got what you would call the same organisational finesse maybe. He's very sort of obsessive compulsive, but Mum really had an organisational finesse and an appreciation for how long it takes me to do like tasks in a completely different way. Things like everyday tasks like getting dressed and all that kind of thing. It was less of an abstract concept for her, and she was always ready to just sort of drop and run, and she would get involved with going to the library and getting books and things. My whole, or her whole life was totally structured around me, and I'm not entirely sure how healthy that was for her and me in many respects, but it worked very well academically, and I will thank her wherever you are looking down on me forever for that, and your appreciation for the sheer monumental effort it takes for me to learn a thing, put something down on paper, and then go to sleep for 20 hours afterwards. But anyway, so I am now in a much better place, I hope, and I've just got to sort of press the pause button for a bit, because I'm having further procedures on the muscles in my legs and my hips to try and release things a bit and address some of the pain that I'm in. So I'm not exactly looking forward to that, but it's not too long away, hopefully, perhaps a month or two, and then things might start to look up. Some very exciting things have happened recently. I've got a new piece of equipment which is aiming to help me with my circulation and reduce some of the swelling in my legs while I'm on bed rest. It uses compressed air. You put it on like a pair of socks, and then you attach it to an electric compressing type device, and it inflates and deflates to give you like an artificial circulation that isn't quite as good as the one I had in hospital, but it does for now, and it's making some improvements. It's not, because you can't leave this device on for more than 20 minutes at a time before it automatically shuts itself off, whereas the one in the hospital was on 24/7, and that was absolutely fantastic. But we are making progress, and I've had my first pair of orthotic boots, specially made, the first pair since I was at primary school. So I'm sort of excited about that. I was very nervous, having worn slippers for the last 6 years, because I was no longer able to find conventional shoes that were safe enough for my feet after I had ulcerated skin on my feet and things. And I eventually managed to get referred back to an orthotist, and he was fantastic and is surprised that I managed to fall off the NHS map, given that I have a chronic disability. Now, some of you may know that the NHS is phenomenally good if you are acutely ill, like if you have an accident and you need imminent hospital treatment. It's very good. It isn't so good in managing chronic things, particularly chronic things when you are an adult. So things like splints, shoes, ongoing physiotherapy, walking frames, monitoring in general is just not so freely available. You have to go searching for it. In some instances, I've had to pay privately to see a consultant that's out of pocket, and it's also out of my local area, which isn't, I'm not complaining about it, but that is just the way it is, and I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to do that, and family who could help me. A lot of people in my position haven't got that, and struggle severely to get the kind of support that they need to live independent lives. So the orthotist made me a wonderful pair of shoes, which I'll insert a picture of now, and I had to start gradually wearing them because they put my ankle more back in the position it should be in a pair of shoes, because I don't weight bear or walk at all now. So really they just cover my feet and prevent them from getting damaged from cold or from being knocked by other people, because people, when you're in a wheelchair, people don't realise how often you get knocked by things, people, supermarket trolleys, children. People try and stand on you, like stand on your foot plate, and don't realise that they've just battered your very delicate skin on your feet and might have caused a problem for which you have to go to the district nurse for some considerable time. So now I've got these wonderful leather shoes that cover my feet. They keep my feet warm. You can alter them for swelling up and, you know, like loosen them off. There's inserts to go in for when your feet aren't as swollen. You can take them out for when they swell up more. Overly, I'm very pleased. It took a while to get used to them, and I can't wear them for I can't wear them all day still, but because they cause me some discomfort purely because now my feet haven't had shoes or not hard shoes on for so long. They kind of have had this like freak out, and and it's really exacerbated my neuropathic pain because my feet aren't used to having hard things round them to and they aren't used to being in a fixed position either. So but that's all going well, so that was a very positive thing. I've finally, after my consultant rang the occupational therapist 5 times now. Originally I was referred in August on an urgent basis, and eventually, first of all, they phoned me several months ago and then never got back to me, even though I was ringing back, and they hadn't got a record of the referral. So there's been a lot of ringing about and passing of information from the NHS to my now occupational therapist, who still thinks she isn't the right person and is almost sure she'll be referring me on. So we shall have to see, but that's for tomorrow morning. So at least things are moving in the right direction. I've got a pre-operative assessment on Monday, so that can take some hours, because for these injections of something called phenol into the muscle, which is something similar to Botox, I believe, and except it might be, well, it's a bit sort of older and possibly a bit less directional. I don't know. I didn't quite understand what the consultant meant when he explained it, so I'm just going to sort of go for it. I know I'll be asleep because it's very difficult for me to lie flat in a position without having pain in my hip now, because of the way that my body curves and various things. So it's better for me to be asleep. Well, I'd quite like to be awake because I think you can tell them more where the injection should go, but he was quite adamant about the sleeping thing, so we'll have to wait and see. And it will probably be more humane for me anyway if I am asleep. So we'll do the testing for that on Monday. So I might take you along depending on how easy it will be, and I don't want to infringe anybody's confidentiality by filming it in a hospital, but we'll see. I might film some of the journey up and things because it's quite picturesque where I'm going anyway, so you might get a bit of a journey. And I'm going to do some future videos about studying with support needs and talk about the benefit of education, the benefit of being able to go truly at your own pace. So I'm hoping this will be useful to some people. I also want to go over about my diagnosis story and my mental health experience. I'll be doing videos about those experiences too when I've got the information together. And I've been inspired to start making videos again by coming across a daily vlogger who's called Emily Botnick, and she does Emily's Life on Wheels, which is a YouTube channel, and I'll link her channel down below in the description box if you want to take a look at her. And she's been really interesting to watch. I've been watching her in my study breaks. She's great deal younger than me, but it's very interesting for me to look at somebody with the same diagnosis as me who lives in another country. I'm always fascinated by how this sort of changes and mediates the whole disability experience, and things like that. So if you'd like to take a look at her, I'll definitely link her below, and hopefully I shall get back to making some videos in the very near future. Now I've got some more time and I'm feeling sort of mentally in a better place. So we shall see.